yeah, and then we would treat those areas just like the rest of the field. So maybe if it was corn, the rest of the field, well, then come fall, we would do whatever tillage we did to the corn stalk, we would do to the cover crop, and would notice that maybe the plant health was better on those areas that had a year of rest. Turns out oats are very healing to the soil.
Hello and welcome to Illinois Corn TV. My name is Shane Gray and I farm in Central Illinois and serve on the board of directors for the Illinois Corn Growers Association. Today I have the privilege of sitting with Dan Sanderson. Dan is a farmer, co-owner of the Pasture Grace Regenerative Farm, author, and recent winner of the, in the farming community, a very prestigious award, the Illinois Leopold Conservation Award. How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing just fine. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Northern Illinois.
Hey, just for our viewers, in case they don't know, I just want to give a little bit of a description of what the Illinois Leopold Conservation Award is. It's an award that's given out yearly to someone who basically has gone above and beyond when it comes to conservation and stewardship and agriculture. So again, congratulations, Dan, for winning that. It's a big honor. And I know there's a long list of guys and gals who have come before you and done that and do a wonderful job in conservation at a time when maybe we need it now more than ever.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and get started with some questions here. You started to notice the benefits maybe of conservation practices back in the 80s. And I don't remember much about the 80s other than everybody in agriculture was boo-hooing and not liking any of it. So,
Right.
Kind of take us back a little bit to that time and share what
Right.
stood out to you most in agriculture and as
So
a young
we were-
farmer at that
yeah.
time.
Right. So we were dealing with burdensome supplies of grain. And so we had annual set-aside programs up to 35% that we could just set that land aside. Now you had to plant a cover crop. I was new to farming, and so my dad said, well, we're going to plant oats. So, okay, that's what we did. So we'd plant oats. Then we'd have to mow them off. They couldn't, and anytime they got close to being the harvestable, but then the soil or the FSA office would get nervous about, you got to get those mowed because we don't want anybody combining them. And
Yeah,
so
you don't
we'd
want the
mow those
FSA
off.
office on your back, that's for sure.
Right, ASCS, I guess, back then. But anyway, yeah, and then we would treat those areas just like the rest of the field. So maybe if it was corn, the rest of the field, well, then come fall, we would do whatever tillage we did to the corn stalk, we would do to the cover crop. Then come the following year, if you just took time and would notice that maybe the plant health was better on those areas that had a year of rest. And turns out oats are very healing to the soil. Oats support mycorrhizal fungi. I know we didn't know about that back in the 80s, but it just it brings more biological activity to the soil other than just corn and soybeans. And we saw better plant health. Now, that was before yield monitors, and so did we weigh those areas separate? No. But through observation, I think we just noticed, the corn or the soybeans, whichever followed that, they were healthier.
Now it's time for Tara's Corn Corner.
If corn were a superhero, what would its superpower be?
That it could fuel the world.
What song should every farmer be required to blast during harvest?
Oh, wow. I don't know. There's so many good songs.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on next one. If you had to describe farming using only movie titles, which one would you pick?
Field of Corn.
If you could name a new hybrid of corn, anything you wanted, what name would you give it?
Superstar.
That's a good one. If tractors had personalities, which one of your on your farm would be the class clown?
Ooh, probably me.
What's the most creative way you've ever injured yourself on the farm?
putting my hand where he shouldn't be, what two pieces of metal come together.
And how did you get injured?
Well, when the piece of metal fell and my finger was on top of the other one, it was swished.
So, like, back in that time, was this mostly a trial and error thing that you learned along the way, or did you have a mentor, a family member, maybe a neighbor who, was maybe experimenting with this, and you saw this and thought, hey, this is a way to maybe do this a little bit better?
I think, yeah, it's just it was just learning to observe what was happening, and through my soil health journey, that's one of the things that they talk about is get good at observing what happened this crop year, but then you have to remember it next crop year when you're looking at the effects of trying to figure out, why is this crop doing it? We have to remember what you did last year. And
Right.
as we've evolved with technology, that's getting easier and easier to go look back
Yeah.
and say, well, what did we do? What maybe caused whatever effect it was? What caused it?
Okay. What I'd read some stuff where you had said that a soil health academy workshop in 2017 was something that maybe changed the way that you farm. So what was it about that particular event that was kind of that aha moment of, okay, this is the direction we're going?
So yeah, we were there had been several programs about using cover crops, and so we were early adapters of cover crops. We were flying on multi-species, and we were doing a lot. And so I guess we were kind of looking for some way to maybe grow some of our synthetics instead of using all synthetic fertilizers or all herbicides and pesticides. We were trying to come up with, through cover crops, we were still just corn, soybeans, and on our rougher soils, we did corn, soybeans, and wheat rotation. So going to that Soil Health Academy, that was put on by Gabe Brown, Ray Archuleta, Dr. Alan Williams, and the late David Brandt. And those four guys put that on. There was people there from around the world at that first, and that was our first Soil Health Academy. They continue to do it today. And I thought I was going in there being pretty progressive in my thinking. And I walked away from that, and I don't think until I went to the Soil Health Academy that I started to appreciate a fully functioning soil, what that must look like, and what we need to do to have that, and that the amount of life in a highly functioning soil. I didn't think of soil as a living organism. I think before that, I think I thought of it
That's
as
a good point.
something that we manipulate to do what we need it to do.
Right.
And I started to think of, instead of maybe thinking of it as dirt, my soil.
Yes.
That it's a living organism. And when you start to think about that, it maybe changes the way you see things.
Well, that was going to be my next question was, I know a lot of guys in this day and age who have been conventional farmers, kind of like myself, and are now starting to tinker with and plant maybe a few hundred acres in cover crop. I'm looking at it mostly as, how can I maintain what we've been doing as far as our APH and our yield amounts versus maybe saving a little bit of money or maybe even making a little bit of money off of it. But it sounds to me like you probably went into this with the true spirit of conservation and stewardship, and that was to look for a better way to keep the soil as healthy as you possibly could.
I think our easy button on our conventional acres is cereal rye. You can throw cereal rye out and it will germinate all the way down to 34 degrees. We have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C when it comes to termination, because, plan A might be, well, we're going to spray it 10 days before we want to plant. Well,
Right.
Mother Nature may have another plan involved, and we may not be able to get out there. And the difference between cereal rye that's a foot tall and 3 feet tall is about 4 days of a warm rain.
Yeah.
That
was
really
my
can
first
take
experience with cover crops, by the way. We had planted cereal rye, and I was under the impression we're going to do this right, and we're going to let it grow as tall as it can. We're going to let the roots do what it's supposed to do. And the next thing you know, I was able to pull into the field to plant, and I couldn't even see the planter. And, I was like, what have I gotten myself into here? But now we're actually getting to it a little bit sooner, spraying it much sooner. It's much more successful and definitely more comfortable when I look out there and think, okay, I can handle this. But my first time I was like, oh boy, I don't know about this.
Right. I've done the same thing. I've looked back and hard to see the planter back there. And, but you know what? In the end, everything was fine.
Yeah.
Did my field look different than the neighbors? Absolutely.
Yes.
But come fall, the cereal rye had crinkled down, it disappeared. Yields were fine, and I know I didn't lose a ton of soil on that whole farm.
Right.
You know.